Hello again, everyone, and today we're going to be talking about another gun safety issue, and this is the gun safety issue that I call the Uzzah principle. And that may sound kind of funny, but I am a Bible teacher, so sometimes I relate biblical stories to some of the things that we do with gun safety. And one of the stories in the Bible that's very interesting is the story of Uzzah. Uzzah was a character in the Old Testament. The Ark of the Covenant was being transported to Jerusalem, and Uzzah was one of the people who were assisting in its transport, and he was walking alongside of the Ark as it was being carted along. And the cart that the Ark was on began to topple. And when it began to topple, the Ark itself, the Ark of the Covenant, began to fall. Now, the rule was that no one was supposed to touch the Ark of the Covenant with their hands. The Ark was to be carried by rods that were stuck into rings in the side of the Ark. It was not supposed to be touched with human hands. And Uzzah, when it began to fall, reached his hand up to steady the Ark. And according to the scripture, when he touched the Ark, it struck him dead, and he passed away. Now, somebody might say, wow, that's a pretty interesting story, but how in the world does that relate to gun safety? Well, it's pretty easy. Sometimes when you're firing a gun, it might happen that the gun slips out of your hand, or possibly, I know that sounds like some people say, well, that could never happen to me. You never know. Sometimes the gun could jostle, especially if you're shooting on the move. If the gun gets, if it slips from your hand, sometimes people have a tendency, when something slips out of their hand, you want to reach out and you want to grab it when it begins to slip. If a gun slips out of your hand, let it go. This is what I would have told Uzzah if I could speak to him today. That Ark was falling, and he put his hand up to catch it out of instinct. He knew he wasn't supposed to touch the Ark, but he put his hand up to touch it anyway. And the reason he put his hand up to touch it is because that's his instinct. It was pure instinct when Uzzah reached up and grabbed that Ark. And oftentimes when stuff falls out of our hand, it's pure instinct as well for us to reach out and grab it. But as I said, what I would have said to Uzzah and what I will say to you now, if I was talking to Uzzah, I'd say, Uzzah, let the Ark go. And I say this to you now. If a gun begins to slip out of your hand, do not reach out and grab it. There have been cases where this has happened. People reach out to grab the gun, and the gun has begun to turn. And when they reach out and grab it, they've actuated the trigger, and in doing so have hurt other people, have hurt themselves. If the gun begins to spin out of your hand and you reach out and grab it and pull the trigger, well, now it's pointed at you. And again, I know there might be some folks who say, well, that wouldn't happen to me. You never know what will happen to you in certain situations, and if the gun begins to slip, let it go. Now, just quickly, I know some people might ask, well, I've seen movies where guns fall on the ground and they go off when they hit the ground, and I've actually read stories where that's actually happened in real life. That is true. A gun hitting the ground, if it is cocked, can potentially go off. However, most firearms today are equipped with drop safeties. Meaning that they are equipped with safeties that stop that from happening. That if the gun is dropped, it's not going to go off. In fact, most modern pistols are designed where the gun will not go off unless the trigger is pulled all the way to the rear of the trigger guard, such as the Glock and other guns like that. Even though the Glock doesn't have an external safety, it does have mechanical safeties built into it, passive safeties we call them, and they will stop the round from going off if the gun is dropped. So again, just remember Uzzah. He shouldn't have grabbed that Ark when it started to fall, and you shouldn't grab that gun if it starts to fall out of your hand. God bless you. Have a wonderful day.